before he became one of the richest athletes in the world, before he became a massive box-office attraction and pay-per-view draw, before he became a twelterweight champion in the UFC, before he was even signed to the premier MMA organization in the world, Conor McGregor had the foresight to document his impending journey on film while still fighting for Cage Warriors on the regional circuit in Europe. In the hands of some very capable filmmakers led by director Gavin Fitzgerald, the result is Conor McGregor Notorious, a fascinating fly-on-the-wall documentary showcasing the meteoric rise of the biggest star the sport has ever seen. It's sure to appease MMA junkies and casual fans alike. The film opens with a montage of highlights from the Nate Diaz rematch at UFC 202. From there we, the audience, are asked to hop into the proverbial DeLorean and jump back to 4 years earlier, where we find McGregor staring at a debt collector's letter and laughing it off. The humble beginning is double-stamped as we see him interact with SBG teammate and training partner Cathal Pendred at the SBG gym in Dublin, Ireland, as the pair joke borrowing each other's headgear because they can't afford their own. The opening to the film establishes where McGregor came from: nothing. What it also establishes is the rock-solid relationship he's had with girlfriend Dee Devlin, who has arguably been his biggest support system and anchor from the get-go. Courtesy Image NBC Universal. From there we're introduced to the entire supporting cast of characters from teammates and training partners, Artem Lobov, Gunnar Nelson, the aforementioned Pendred, coaches John Kavanagh and Owen Roddy, as well as immediate family Tony and Margaret McGregor et al. It's fascinating to see these young and innocent faces, yet to be exposed to the world they all inhabit now, as they embark on this journey with McGregor. There are cameos from Dylan Donnies and James Gallagher later. However, it's clear that aside from the hours spent in the gym, the bond McGregor has with his team is just as crucial to his success, which is a running theme throughout the film. The largest portion of the film is dedicated to the build-up to the Jose Aldo fight, which ultimately took place at UFC 194. However, it's the build-up to UFC 189 that produces some of the most fascinating behind-the-scenes moments and never-before-seen footage which will resonate most with hardcore fans of the sport. We see McGregor struggle but ultimately deal with a severe knee injury ACL tear, which at the time was only known to his teammates and coaches. We then witness UFC President Dana White and then co-owner Lorenzo Fertitta visit the Mac Mansion in Las Vegas to break the news that Aldo was injured and out of the fight. Another amazing moment captured on film is McGregor being paid a visit by none other than Arnold Schwarzenegger. The interaction between the two is fun, and although it's just a few moments, the biggest takeaway is when McGregor and Devlin show the Austrian oak out, and as they shut the door, there's a real moment of innocence as they both look at each other, smiling and laughing, gobsmacked that one of the biggest stars in Hollywood took time out of his schedule to pay them a visit. Instances like this captured throughout the film are real high points, providing a good balance of showcasing McGregor the fighter versus the everyday guy thrust into the A-list world, that despite the money, fame and everything that comes with celebratory status, McGregor thoroughly enjoyed the journey, even if he had to pinch himself from time to time. Courtesy Image NBC Universal. The final portion of the movie is dedicated to his biggest rival, Diaz. Up until now the audience has seen McGregor overcome injuries, defeat a legend in Aldo, become a bona fide superstar and do it all with a cheeky smile, as if he had foreseen this all, which remarkably isn't far from the truth. What we have yet to see is McGregor go from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows, his first loss in the UFC, which came at the hands of Diaz at UFC 196. It would have been easy for McGregor to tell the production crew to turn the cameras off as he gathers his thoughts post-fight in the locker room, minutes following the loss. But he doesn't. Once again, like many times throughout the film, we're right there with him and his teammates, coaches and manager in an emotionally charged moment. It's fascinating to see him be so self-critical and at the same time see the determination in his eye to come back, which, of course, he did at UFC 202. It's this continued unprecedented access throughout the 4-year span the film covers that helps it stand head and shoulders above other sports documentaries. The final minutes of the film quickly put a spotlight on his historic win at UFC 205 in the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden, where he defeated Eddie Alvarez to capture the UFC lightweight championship, thus becoming the first fighter in the promotion's history to hold 2 titles at the same time. As the credits roll we get highlights from the Maymac World Tour. The film ends at the 90-minute mark, which for the sake of pacing is the sweet spot. There's real energy and vigor with the use of music overlaying careful section of footage. Like all good documentaries, the film is stitched together diligently, and while ardent fans of both McGregor and the sport might wish the storytelling had extended beyond the Diaz rematch to put emphasis on both UFC 205 and the Floyd Mayweather boxing match, I've got no doubt there's plenty left on the table for a sequel. Courtesy Image NBC Universal. In the fight game, it's quite rare for a fighter to give unprecedented access to a film crew over a vast period of time, especially when information regarding injuries being leaked to the media can drastically help opponents. That's where a long-term relationship with Graham McDonnell, founder of Severema.com and who serves as a producer on Notorious, clearly plays a factor. There's a genuine trust established between McGregor and the film crew, and the brash Irishman is totally open with every minutia of his journey. Whether it's intimate moments with Devlin, showcasing his rehab at times in total isolation, or the relationship with Kavanaugh, it's all there to be seen. For the MMA junkies, we get a few extra layers to the McGregor story we've been witness to. For everyone else, it's an opportunity to get to know the man behind the fighter, and perhaps in the process be inspired. Aesthetically, the film has a rich production quality to it. There's a certain texture to everything, which gives it that Hollywood gloss. It would have been easy for this to be nothing more than a jacked-up countdown show throwing together all of McGregor's classic moments at press conferences, interviews and weigh-ins. Where Notorious succeeds is giving an authentic and honest look at a fighter that quite literally went from nothing to something to everything and then some. 1. McGregor toasting to some good business, sipping on some fine and no doubt expensive whiskey with Dana White, Lorenzo Fertitta and other executives backstage at major UFC events. 2. McGregor's first time meeting the Terminator himself, Arnold Schwarzenegger. 3. McGregor waking up, hair all over the place, being greeted by his team, Dana White and Lorenzo Fertitta, first thing in the morning before learning of the Aldo injury news leading up to UFC 189. 4. McGregor speaking to himself, saying I pined out while all those around him try to keep his spirits high following the loss to Diaz at UFC 196. 5. McGregor parking one high-end car, informing the person responsible for washing it that 2 more are on their way. Conor McGregor Notorious hits UK theaters November 1st, with a special one-day release in North America on November 8th. The film will be available on DVD and digital download November 20th. The Blue Corner is McJunkie's official blog and is edited by Mike Bone.